These are the only 3 I am affirmations you need to reprogram your subconscious mind. Not only do you need these affirmations, but I'm also going to offer you an amazingly developed and perfected system for making sure that these I am affirmations stick. So let's get into it. Affirmation number 1 is, I am capable of embodying desirable traits on command. If we want to become someone different, you want to become you 2.0, think about who you are. You're a pattern of thoughts, feelings, and actions. But more so when we think about it, we think about personality traits, right? You're either strong, you're charismatic, you're introverted, you're extroverted. Whatever it is, it's typically a trait. We have all at some time expressed virtually all traits, right? And so we all have the capability of once again embodying these traits. So for example, let's say that I want to embody the trait. I want to become the type of person who is more assertive. If I want to embody the trait of assertiveness, there is a certain body position I'm going to have. My chest is going to be out. My shoulders will be back. Chin is going to be up. I'm going to do things and say things in a way that assertive people do. And if I can just dip my feet in that water of test driving this trait, right? And on occasion, manifesting or embodying that trait within me, then I start to do reps for that trait. And eventually, someone who is assertive on a regular basis is someone who becomes assertive. An assertive person talks, thinks, acts, behaves in a way that assertive people do. So when you start to embody traits and you start to think and act as if you already have them, then you kind of actually do, because you're embodying them in that moment. But where people get stuck is maybe, let's say for 3 days, you do some assertive things. And each time you do it, it's for a minute or two, right? Well, in those minutes or two, the minute or two that you've done that, you have embodied that trait, right? But the problem is that when you look back behind you and you look into your past, you go, well, look at all the evidence back here that supports that I'm not assertive. Well, the key is to create new evidence, and we're going to go into that in a moment. Let's talk about the second I am affirmation that you must adopt in order to truly reprogram your subconscious mind. And that is, I am the master of my emotions. When you become the master of your emotions, you are in control of your life, of your responses, and the way you interact with the world. For example, many of us make the mistake of being reactionary. What does that mean? It's kind of like an autopilot default reaction that we have to situations, circumstances, life events that occur every single day, right? And so what we want to do is manage the meaning that we place on things, right? So we can actually start to better manage our emotions. We also want to manage where we're focusing on things and the thoughts that we have, because if you start thinking about something that went wrong 2 weeks ago, you're probably going to have that same emotional response associated with that event. Because don't forget, the end product of any memory or experience is an emotion. And so if you go back and you replay the pain of your past in a mental movie, you will experience the emotions associated with that movie. But guess what? The same thing works on the other spectrum. If you start replaying your wins, you start replaying the things that you've done well, which we all don't do enough of, right? And I invite you to consider Wednesday during the week to be your wins day, where you think about the wins you've had either that morning, that day, maybe even in that week, that month. And they don't always have to be big wins, right? They just have to be meaningful wins. They could be a small win, like, you know what? I was driving towards the gym and said, you know what? I'm not gonna work out today. I turned around, started driving home, and then I turned back around and caught myself and went back. That might not sound like a big win to you, but to me it is, because you broke the habit of being who you habitually had been, and you mastered your emotions, you mastered your decision making in that moment, and you said, no, I command you to turn around, you're going to the gym, we're gonna have a great workout. There was a lot of assertiveness there, right? And so that's number 2. So I am the master of my emotions. Let's talk about number 3. I am focused, aware, and take action. Why is this important? Well, one of the most important things you can do is manage where you place your focus, energy, and attention. Now, here's the thing. That sounds great, but here's where people get stuck, is that a lot of people don't have the self-awareness. They're not able to, in the moment, at any moment, be aware of where they're placing their focus, energy, and attention. In other words, you, for example, might be thinking like, oh, geez, it's gonna be one of those days. Whoa. If you can catch yourself and say, wait, where are you focusing right now? Well, the reason why you said it's going to be another one of those days is you were focusing and thinking about how on Monday, just everything seemed to fall apart for you, okay? But the only reason why here it is on Thursday and you're thinking as if it were a Monday again is because you're focusing your energy and attention on that mental movie, on that experience of the past. But if you can be in the moment and you can be focused, aware, and take action, what you can do is start to guide your mind and your brain, your reticular activation system, onto what you would like to expand, what you would like to grow. Don't forget, when you focus on something, it grows. Because if I'm focusing on this, I'm not being focused on these things that can distract me or pull me away from where I need to be. I'm going to start moving towards that desire, that outcome, that goal that I wish if I place my energy and attention there. Don't forget, every single day you wake up, you get 5 gallons of gas. Think about that. 5 gallons of gas symbolizes the energy and the time that you have in one given day. And it's your call as to where you place that focus, energy, and attention. It is 100% within your control as to what you do with it. Now, those are the 3 affirmations, the I am affirmations that you want to program directly into your subconscious mind. But guess what? There's one extra piece, and that is, how do you execute on this? Do I just say them? How often do I say them? I got you covered. I got you covered. We're gonna cover that right now. And by the way, my name is Dr. Jay Kavanaugh. I'm the creator, founder of the Vibe Mindset. I am a coach. I typically work with professional athletes, but this channel is designed to take all the knowledge, all the success I've had with professional athletes and share it with you. If you're interested in connecting with me, we have some programs available. Click the link in the bio below, in the description below. All right, now let's talk about how to work with these 3 I am affirmations, right? And the beauty, just to take a step back here, is that some of us say, oh, well, I've got these 21 affirmations, or you know what, I'm gonna fall asleep listening to these affirmations. Okay, I understand, but here's the thing. If we get too many affirmations and we get too passive with our approach, sometimes the results we desire may not come. So it's not to say that these things don't work, but wouldn't you want things to work a little bit faster and a little bit stronger and be a little deeper, right? This is truly what we're talking about when we talk about reprogramming your subconscious mind. It's going deep, it's being intense, it's rewiring a program, it's installing a new software. So here are the ways that we do this. So this is the system you want to use to implement these 3 I am affirmations. 1, you need to have conviction and clarity when you speak the affirmations. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll give you an example. Let's say I say something simple. Let's pick a different affirmation. And I go like this. I am strong and I am confident. Okay. Was there much conviction to that, right? I would think that you guys would say no, right? Okay, let's try it a different way. I am very strong and I am beyond confident, right? See how I didn't even realize I was doing it, but I added some extra words to it, but I leaned into the camera. I had a little bit of movement of my body. I wasn't as stiff before. I truly had conviction in what I said. And it's interesting because, you know, even when you look at salespeople, the people that have sold you anything, think about it. Even your friend that sells you on a restaurant that you should go to, this new restaurant down the street you should go to. Are you going to go to if they're like, oh yeah, you know, it was a great experience. You know, we really enjoyed it. No, you're not going. If they're like, you have to go to this restaurant. This is by far the new restaurant in town. It is the best. Even if you have to drive a half hour, I promise you it's worth it. Conviction, okay? Conviction is filled with emotions, certainty, and intensity, okay? So that's one thing you need to do. When you're stating these affirmations, develop the conviction, practice it, get good at it. At first, you might be a little quiet, you might be a little passive. Raise it up a little bit, raise the vibe up a little bit. Just start becoming a little bit more intense with these affirmations. Now, we have conviction and clarity. Clarity is one of the most underutilized words. It's one of the most underappreciated words, right? Now, in order to get clear on things, what are we really talking about? And why does it even matter? Well, you want to become clear on things because the more detail you can offer on envisioning, let's say this affirmation of, I am the master of my emotions. Let's say, for example, we take that affirmation. You want to get super clear after you make that statement on what does that look like? Create some mental movies in your mind. Create some scenes in your mind that embody that. And think about incidences that have either happened or will happen in your mind where you will be the master of your emotion. All of a sudden, someone cuts you off on the highway. No, I do not care that you cut me off. I have an agenda. I have a goal. I'm not letting one of those 5 gallons of gas be burnt on me having an emotional reaction to you cutting me off. I am the master of my emotions. I will not react to the situation, and I'm gonna play a little Celine Dion. Okay, perfect. Great example, right? So clarity, conviction and clarity is number 1. There's 3 of them. Now this pairs with the 3 affirmations. So it's 3 and 3. So second, repetition, doing the reps, okay? If you do I am affirmations, these 3 I am affirmations once a week, probably not much will change. Twice a week, I guess you could argue, it depends on how much conviction and clarity you have, right? All these pieces kind of work together, as you'll see, but you have to do the reps. And this is the thing that people don't understand, and I think why a lot of people fail is they just don't do enough reps. And think about it, the perfect example is just getting healthy and maybe losing weight, right? We all know that all you need to do is eat better and work out a little bit more, move a little bit more, eat a little cleaner, maybe even reduce your calories, whatever, right? It's super simple in theory. But the reason why most of us don't achieve that goal is we'll eat clean for a week, maybe 2, maybe even 3. Maybe we'll work out every day, which you shouldn't, but let's say 2-3 days a week you work out, and then after maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks, you get on the scale. And you're like, I did all of this and only lost 1 pound, or maybe you didn't even lose a pound. Maybe you gained a pound, right? But either way, you look in the mirror, nothing's different. You look on the scale, nothing's different. And then you start to become very unmotivated. Well, the key thing here is you haven't done enough reps yet. Now, if that same person knew what was going to happen if they just doubled down on what they did it for 3 to 4 weeks. Now, all of a sudden, if they just sucked it up for 6 to 8, guess what? They get on the scale, numbers different. They look in the mirror, they look different. Their significant other looks at them with their clothes off and says, oh my God, you look different. Things are working, this is great. Think about it, repetition is the key. That's number 2. Number 3, finally, create the evidence. Create the evidence to support the affirmation. You have to understand that there has to be some form of action. You have to do something, right? And so what does that look like? Well, creating the evidence, right? It's just like creating a case. Like if you were like a lawyer going to a court case, you got to gather all the information you can. So perfect example of that. Let's say, I don't know, I wanted to become an author. So I have never written anything. Let's say my past is I've never been a good writer. I've never done this. I've never published a book. I've always wanted to. All right, that's the past. That's weak. That's not going to get you anywhere. The emotional state associated with that is just going to pull you right down, drag you down, and you're going to keep thinking and feeling and acting like you did in the past, and you get the same results. Now, all of a sudden, you say, I am an author. Let's just say you say that. Now, at first, when you say I am an author, it's going to feel uncomfortable because you have no evidence to create that. You haven't written anything. Keep in mind, I'm looking backwards now. You haven't done anything in the past. You haven't written anything. You haven't done this. You haven't done that, right? Or maybe you've done a couple things, but you haven't done enough things for you to have the conviction and the certainty that you are an author. So then you say to yourself, okay, well, what can I do to create the evidence to support this affirmation that I am an author? And in that case, you say to yourself, action. What actions can I do? Well, what do authors do? They write. Authors write. So if you make that statement or an affirmation that you say, I'm an author, let's say, The only thing you need to do to turn it into a reality is to create the evidence to support that affirmation and turn that belief into a part of who you are. Writers write. Runners run. Speakers speak. See, if you want to become someone new, something different, a better version of yourself, there has to be that action, because over time, doing reps of those actions internalizes that belief and that identity, that new version of yourself, so it's 100% within you. Check out this next video and definitely comment below and let me know what resonated with you the most, and we'll see you soon.